నమో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. Today is our second lecture on Sanatana Dharma. It is introduction to Vedas by Professor Ravi Prakash Arya ji. I will introduce him to all of you after reciting Vande Mataram and chanting Prarthana. So I will request Chala Chitibabu Garu to recite Vande Mataram for all of us. Request all of you to stand up and recite Vande Mataram along with him.
Kindly mute your mics.
Yeah, please mute your mics.
Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Sujalam Supalam Malayajasitalam Sasya Syamalam Mataram. Vande Mataram. Subrajyosna Pulakitayamini Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhini Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini Sukhadam Varadam Mataram. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Namaskar.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదములండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు. Now let us request Satyaji to chant Prarthana.
Namaskaram. Let's do meditation for 1 minute. Let's close our eyes and sit straight. Watch the breath. And let's not entertain any other thoughts, but focus on the class for the next hour and a half. Harihi Om. Om Gananam Tva Ganapati Gumhavamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anasrunvannotibhis Sidasadanam. Om Shri Mahaganathipataye Namaha. Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinamavitriyavatu. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Gurureva Gati Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Na Guru Paramam Sheshirasmi Guroho Matirasti Guro Mama Pahi Guru. Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatika Krutim आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
ధన్యవాదములండి సత్య గారు. Now I request Challa Chitti Babu garu to introduce the speaker to all the students. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, very good morning to all. Pranams to Professor Arya ji and Professor Dr. Akala Prabhakar Rao garu and our administrator, Lieutenant Colonel Babu garu. Yeah, it gives me great privilege to introduce Professor Arya ji. He is a well-known person in our courses, and to tell you about Professor Arya ji. Professor Ravi Prakash Arya is a chair professor on Maharshi Dayananda Saraswati, chair UGC in Maharshi Dayananda University, India. He is a world-renowned Vedic scholar, philologist, historian, and philosopher. He is a prolific speaker and writer too. He is a widely traveled scholar who has delivered more than 350 popular and academic talks on various topics of Vedas, Indian history, linguistics, philosophy, culture, and scientific Indian heritage in various countries of the world. He is doing pioneering work for preserving and propagating the universal and scientific Vedic heritage of India under the auspices of the Indian Foundation for Vedic Science. He has, to his credit, 75 research papers and 70 books running into 84 volumes and on various aspects of Vedas, Vedic sciences, Vedic exegesis, Vedic philology, Vedic philosophy, religion, Indian history, and culture. He is the chief editor of quarterly research journal Vedic Science, dealing with the scientific interpretation of Vedas and allied literature and ancient Indian traditions. This journal is acclaimed as an authoritative document on Vedic sciences. He is also the editor of the annual World Vedic Calendar. He has convened several national and international conferences, seminars, workshops on Vedic sciences, Ayurveda, yoga, spiritual and Indian knowledge system. He is a recipient of many awards at the national and international levels in his specialized field. He also served the Higher Education Department of Haryana as principal of various degree colleges for more than 10 years. Professor Arya ji, welcome to this.
Thank you. Thank you, Challa Chitibabu garu.
Namaskar.
Once again. And now we'll request Ravi Prakash Arya ji to take on.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Colonel Babuji, Prabhakar Raoji, and other participants in today's class. As we know, Veda is India's contribution to the world. And in fact, Veda is the global heritage that originated in India. And we must also understand about it that Veda, often the European scholars and the Western scholars, they have been calling it as the religious book of the Hindus. Veda is not a religious book like that of Quran or Bible, that they belong to Christianity and Islam. In fact, during Vedic period, there is no such religion as is prevalent today. In fact, dharma itself is a different word from religion, and the term dharma cannot be called as religion. So Veda is the book of dharma, and Manusmriti, Manu says, Vedo Akhilu Dharma Moolam. Veda is the source of all dharmas. And dharma, the word dharma, has also been defined by the seers of this land. First of all, the Manu says, what is dharma? He says, Dhriti Kshama Damu Asteyam Shaucham Indriya Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashkam Dharma Lakshanam. He says, all this having patience, forgiveness, non-violence, control of mind, having control over one's sense organs, and to acquire knowledge, all these things means the set of moral and ethical values, that is dharma. The knowledge system, the knowledge of spirituality, and the knowledge of this mundane world, that is also dharma. In Vedic period, the education was of two types. One was known as Shiksha and another was known as Vidya. And the Shiksha was also called as Avidya. The knowledge pertaining to this material world, which was applied for livelihood, for earning money and accumulating this accumulating the natural resources, that is known as Shiksha. And the knowledge of spirituality, which was required for the transformation of a human being, that was known as Vidya. So Vidya and Avidya. Avidya is not ignorance, but the knowledge of this material world, that was called Avidya. So during Vedic period, the knowledge, it also pertained to Avidya, also it pertained to the Vidya, or the spirituality for the transformation of a human being. So dharma includes both the things. And further, Kanada, the author of Vaisheshika Darshan, he also says that yato abhyudaya nishreya siddhi sadharmaha. This knowledge system, these moral and ethical values, these are essential, or the knowledge of this entire universe and the knowledge of the properties of the various constituents of this universe, that is essential for the progress of a human being in this mundane world, for his social progress, that is called as abhyudaya and nishreyas, and finally for attaining moksha. So this knowledge is, dharma is essential part for attaining the objectives of the human life. As we know, only the Vedic culture is there in the world, or only this Indian philosophy or the Vedic philosophy is there in the world, which has defined the objectives of the human life. No other civilization, no other culture in the world, no other philosophy in the world, they are able to define the objective of human life. They have, according to them, there is only one objective, just to eat, mate, and sleep, Bhogavadi, that we called as a Bhogavadi culture. So they have no objective set for the human life. But here the Vedic seers, the seers of this land, because they were able to visualize the whole things, or they had the deep insight what human being is going to have his fate in future, whether he is going to be born as a human being or as animal being or as plants, like that, according to his sanskaras. So keeping in view of all these things, they set the goal of human life, and that is known as Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Dharma is the foundation part of that Purushartha, or the objective. First of all, everybody is required to acquire or attain Dharma, and that Dharma is essential for sustainability of the human beings in this world. That is why it has been defined, Dharma has been defined as Dharanat Dharma Prahu. That is the sustainable element of sustainability. So whether the human beings or creatures are concerned, or whether this mundane world is concerned, that is why it has been said, Dharmo Dharyate Praja and Dharmo Dharyate Jagat. The whole universe is going to be held or sustained by this Dharma. And if we remove Dharma from our life, then a human being is no better than an animal being. And that is why the Mimamsa, in Purva Mimamsa, Badarayana, Purva Mimamsa author says, Chodana Lakshano Artho Dharmaha. That is the figurative meaning, the allegorical meaning of the Vedas, that is Dharma. Means Dharma is going to be expressed by the Veda, and this Veda is the Vak of Brahman. Veda is known as the Vak of Brahman, and this whole universe, this creation, is the Karma of Brahman. So this Vak of Brahman, it defines, it expresses his creation. So Veda is nothing but it deals with the knowledge of the creation. And karma, Brahman, the karma of Brahma is creation, and his Vak is Veda, because it is the knowledge of his creation. And because this creation is the act of Brahman, no human being, no scientist, no engineer, no seer, they is able to create this universe. So, because the creation of the universe is the act of Brahman, so the knowledge of the universe will also be assigned to the Brahman himself. That is why our tradition says, Vedaha apaurushyaha. This Vedic knowledge of the Veda It pertains to the Brahman. It doesn't pertain to any seer or a human being, because this knowledge pertains to the whole universe. In Vedic system, the three main things are there. If we want to define Vedic philosophy, there are three components in Vedic system, and those components are, the first one is known as Yajna, and the second one is known as Veda, and the third one is known as Itihas and Purana. Manu says, Sarvam Yajjata Prasiddhyati, Tasmat Sarvahutaha Richaha, Tasmat Yajjata Sarvahutaha Richaha Samani Jajjire, Tasmad Yajus Tasmad Ajayataha. Means everything. The entire Indian intellectual tradition, the source of the entire intellectual tradition is the Yajna. And Yajna, keeping in view of the Yajna, the whole thing have developed in this country. The Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, Sham Veda, and Atharva Veda, all the four Vedas, they originated in view of the Yajna. So what is this Yajna? Yajna is the process of the creation. Yajna is the process of creation, and Veda, which was developed or which was revealed to the seer, or which was visualized by the seer in the beginning of creation, when the first human beings were born. So the Veda is the knowledge of that creation. Yajna is the creation, process of creation. The knowledge, Veda is the knowledge of that creation, and Itihas and Purana, they are the history of creation. While defining Purana and Itihasa or Purana, it has been said, Sargasha, Pratisargasha, Vansho, Manvantarani cha, Vansho, Manvantarani cha, Vanshanu Charitam Chaiva, Purana Pancha Lakshanam. These are the 5 characteristics of the Puranas. Number 1, Sargasha, the history of the creation. Pratisargasha, the history of decreation. Vanshaha, the lineage of the heavenly bodies, from which body what originated. Then Manvantarani cha, the time reckoning system, that is called as Jyotisha, the origin of time, what we call Kala, Akala, its definition and all these things. These are the subject matter of the Puranas. And Vanshanu Charitam Chaiva, and whatever in this creation of the heavenly bodies, what came last or first, their whole tradition, that has been defined in the Puranas. And Itihas pertains to the history of creation, but in later times, the human history was also made the subject matter of the Puranas. But in the beginning, Purana was the history of the creation itself. So Veda is the knowledge of creation, and Yajna is the process of creation, and Purana is the history of creation. So the whole thing, this entire system, Vedic system, it pertains to the knowledge, and not some religious things like that we call today, so far as other religions are concerned. So Veda is the pure knowledge. It is quite secular, and it pertains to the whole universe and whole humanity. In the beginning, when the seers were just discovering or were in samadhi, they were able to imbibe this knowledge, because the word Veda itself, it is formed of a root called Vida. Vida. It has 2-3 types of Vida Jnane, with lari labhe, with vicharane, and with sattayam. In fact, root is same, but due to certain grammatical operations, it has been just defined differently. Only one root is there, Vida, and it has 4 meanings. Vida sattaya, because this Veda, it defines this satta, existence of the Brahman, existence of the souls, and existence of the universe. Then with jnane, it is the knowledge of this existence, existing universe. And with lari labhe, with vicharane, it was imbibed by the seers in samadhi, during a samprajnat samadhi, where Yoga Darshan, in Yoga Darshan, Patanjali says, Ritambhara Tatra Prajna. There is a stage, there reaches a stage while a person performs yoga, and that stage is known as Asamprajnata Yoga. Asamprajnata Yoga, where the meditator, the subject of meditation, and to whom a person is meditating upon, those are aligned together, where a yogi is not aware of his existence and he merges with the Brahman, and at that stage, Ritambhara Tatra Prajyaha, Patanjali says, such an intellectual power is developed that a yogi is able to see the whole laws of the universe. Rita is the law of universe, law of creation, and that prajna is Ritambhara, that is full of those laws of creation. And when a yogi is able to develop that prajna, he will be able to see he will be able to gain or acquire the entire knowledge of this creation. And that knowledge, it was documented in the form of Veda. And that knowledge itself is known as dharma. And that is why this course has also been defined or named as Sanatana Dharma. Sanatan means eternal dharma, eternal laws of nature, because the laws of nature, the laws of creation, they came from eternality, or from Brahman. So this is all eternal. It has no end and no beginning. That is why this dharma, the Sanatan dharma, has been called as Sanatan or a Shashwat, because these laws, this knowledge is eternal. Once the creation takes place and decreation takes place, the cycle is there, then another cycle will take place, and this will keep going on. That is why we call this course also as a Sanatan dharma, and Veda, the knowledge of that dharma, or that dharma itself, is called as Veda. Yaska says, Sakshata Krita Dharmana Rishayo Babhu. There were seers who were able to realize this knowledge, or who were able to experience this knowledge in samadhi. Te asakshata krita dharmabhya upadeshena mantrana sampraduhu. Those seers, they passed on this knowledge, which was visualized by them in samadhi, to those future generations who did not visualize it. So this a tradition, it was a tradition, the history of the visualization or acquisition of this knowledge from the beginning of when the human race originated on this earth. So that is how this whole system in Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Triguna Vishayo Vedaha Naistray Gunyo Bhava Arjuna. Sri Krishna says that this Trigunatmaka Srishti, this creation made up of Sattva, Rajas and Tamasa, this Srishti is the subject matter of the Veda. So the subject matter of the Veda is this Trigunatmaka Srishti, the creator of this universe, and the people or the soul that are living in it. All these three things, the Brahman, his karma, his creation, and whatever is there in this universe, that is the subject matter of the Veda. And further he says to Arjuna, Nais Traigunno Bhava Arjuna, you rise above this Trigunatmaka Srishti, this cycle of life and death, because that has also been clearly defined by our seers, how a person takes birth and how he dies and what will be the fate, his fate in future life. According the Vedanta philosopher says, Sansakara Bijata Srishti, whatever type of sanskar a human imbibes or obtains or acquires or accumulate, based upon those sanskaras, he is going to get his future life. So everything has been very clearly defined, seen, and defined by the Vedic seers. There is no ambiguity anywhere else, and based upon that vision, this whole system was made and created. So the Veda, as I told earlier, it is the work of a Brahman, and this creation, it is the karma, action of the Brahman, and there is a relationship between Veda and his karma. Veda is the expression of this universe or this creation, and this creation is the materialization of this work of Brahman. These two things are interrelated, and this is how the whole tradition of Veda it started. We have 4 Vedas. First one is known as Rig Veda, Rig Archani. Rig Veda, we have so many ritas, around more than 10,000 ritas or mantras are there in the Rig Veda. And these mantras, they are also so called. Why the mantra is so called? Yask says mantra mananat, because these mantras, they were visualized by the seers through their mind in samadhi, when they were in samadhi. So they also have that connection, mantra mananat. And Rig Archani, because the Rig Veda, there are different devatas are there in the Rig Veda. I'll come I'll touch this devata word later on, but I'll first confine myself to the word Rig Veda itself. So Rig Veda is going to define many subjects or many forces that are there in the universe. It is going to define, it is going to describe and define Brahman and the many forces of this creation. That is why it is said Rig Archani. And this is in poetical form. It has been written in the poetical form so that different aspects of this creation may be defined. This Indra, Vayu, Marut, there are around 800 devatas in the Vedas. Devata is the subject matter. The subject matter is known as Devata, and Yaska says Deva Eva Devata. What does this line mean? Deva Eva Devata. The Devas, they are all the Devas, they are the subject matter of the Devata. While studying the Veda from the Western scholars' point of view, they have told that Devatas are the gods and goddesses. But if we translate Devata as god or goddesses, the actual meaning will be the lost. Devata, it cannot, The Vedic word, in fact, they have no synonyms in English language. If we are going to translate yajna as a sacrifice, the very meaning of the yajna will be lost. If we are going to translate devata as a god or goddess, the very meaning of the devata will be lost. So devata is the subject matter, and that subject matter, any deva, any type of deva can be the subject matter of the Veda. Any type of deva means whether the deva is astronomical, astrophysical, whether it is metaphysical, or whether it is physical. Adhyatmik, Adhidaivik, and Adibhautik. There are three types of the meanings of the Vedas as per Yaska. Adhyatmik, that pertains to the Brahman, souls, and this body, that is Adhyatmik. Adhidaivik means that pertains to this cosmos, to this universe outside, and all whatever we call it as astrophysical things, that is Adhidaivik aspect. And whatever is Laukika, the mundane, just like while reciting the prayer in the beginning of this lecture, some mantra was quoted, or some lines were quoted from Upanishad, and it said, Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. So in this Laukika world also, in this mundane world also, the mother, father, the Acharya, Atiti, the peripatetic monks, the sannyasis who are delivering this knowledge to everybody on the globe while doing rounds or moving from one place to another place, they are also called as devas. So they are also the subject matter. Deva eva devata. They will also be the subject matter of the Vedas. Similarly, the astrophysical devas, Yask defines devaha danatava dyotanatava dyusthano bhavatiti va. What is deva? Who is going to give? Who is giving something? All these natural things, the sun, moon, these constellations, and this air, this clouds, they are giving us. They are always giving us something for our survival. So whatever in physical or astrophysical world gives something or donates something, just like the human beings who are contributing to their nations, the scholars who are contributing to the knowledge system, they will also be called as devas. That is why Brahman, author of the Brahman, says, Vidwanso vai devaha. So because they are contributing to the society, the persons who are doing charities, they will also be called as deva. And all these heavenly bodies, all these natural things, they are contributing, they are providing certain things to us. So they are called as deva. Devo danatava, dyotanatava. Whatever has its own illumination, just like sun has its own light. All these nakshatras, these heavenly bodies, they have their geothermal energies or any energies. So they are also called as devas. And dyusthano bhavatiti va, whatever exists in the this space, those everything, all those things, they are known as devas. And all this, Yask says, deva eva devata. All these things, they are the subject matter of the Veda. So Rigveda is going to define, is the jnana aspect. It's giving you the information of all these things that exist in the universe, whether they are at adhyatmic level, whether they are at adibhautik level or adhidaivik level, astrophysical level or laukik level. So Rigveda is going to define, is giving the jnana of all these things. In Vedic science also, there are two words, jnana and vijnana. And in modern science also, the science word is there. So what is the meaning of science in Vedic field? That must also be understood. Acharya Shankara, he says, Jnanam Vishayaha Vishayanubhutira Vijnanam. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. He says, the mere information of certain things, that is jnana. And when that information becomes the subject of your experience, or you are able to experience that information, or that information comes into your realization, then that information becomes vijnana. And after that, Shankara says, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. Suppose the Brahma, the word Brahma is there. So we have the information that some existence, some power exists as a Brahman. This is Jnana, the knowledge of the Brahman. But when a yogi, he is able to experience that Brahman in Samadhi, or realize that Brahman in Samadhi, then his information of a Brahman, that becomes Vijnana. And when Brahman becomes the subject of your experience, then what will happen? Vijnanam Anandam Brahman, then it will be a blissful experience. A yogi will have a bliss, eternal bliss. He will live in Ananda. So, in Indian philosophy, in Vedic philosophy, the science is of two types. One, which can be experimental knowledge. Another is experiential knowledge. So, the Vedic science, as per Vedas, science is more deeper than what is defined today. Today's scientist, he tries to do some experiments in the lab. What is happening in the universe, he tries to repeat it through experiments in the lab, and whatever is observed by him in the lab, he calls that science. But the Vedic seers, they did not need to do any experiment in the laboratories. By Samadhi, they were able to see everything in the universe happening directly. So this Vedic knowledge is the direct knowledge, and the modern knowledge is the secondary knowledge gained through secondary sources. So primary sources and the secondary sources, you can understand this difference. This Vedic knowledge has been gained through primary sources, and you will find a fantastic thing while studying Veda or another text pertaining to the Vedas or Vedic philosophy. You will not find there in any text. Suppose you go through the Charaka Samhita, a text on Ayurveda. You will not find any reference over there. But today's medical science or any book you will see, you will find there were thousands of the books have been referred to. Means a person is doing experiment or doing some research that is being quoted by others. But in Vedic traditions, there is not like that. A tradition started from Brahma and it comes down to other scholars. And he says, this knowledge was given by that scholar to him. From that scholar, it came down to that scholar. And in tradition, this knowledge came down to me. The seer will say like that. So there was no such type of knowledge that we are going to discover today, invent today. The knowledge that was imbibed, that was visualized, the scholar in the beginning, then he passed on that knowledge to the further generations. So this is the revealed knowledge. Had it been the experimented knowledge or written by several scholars, their name would have been mentioned. So far as Panini's grammar itself is concerned, you can see Panini himself says, or there is a tradition of grammar, and it is being said that Samudravata Vyakaranam Maheshware. The first of all, the origin of grammar took place, or it was, the grammar was described or defined by the Maheshwara. Samudravata Vyakaranam Maheshware Tad Ardha Kumbhodharanam. If you take half a pitcher of the water from the ocean, then that much size of the grammar, it was developed by Indra. Whatever Indra gained from Maheshwara, it remained as a pitcher, half pitcher taken, pitcher of water taken from the ocean. And Vindut Patitam Paninav, and only one drop size of the grammar, it came to the Panini. Samudravata Vyakaranam Maheshware Tad Ardha Kumbhodharanam Brihaspatau Tad Bhaga Bhagat Jagatam Purandare and Vindut Patitam Hi Paninav. The ocean size of grammar was given by Maheshwara, and it was received by Brihaspati. A part of it was received by Brihaspati, and half pitcher full of water from that it was received by Indra, and only a drop of it was received by Panini. So when we say that Panini's grammar, Panini developed this grammar, it is not right. Panini got all this knowledge through tradition, and he was the last Acharya to preserve that knowledge. In a very small amount of it was preserved by Panini. Similarly, Kanad is the last Acharya in the tradition of Vaisheshika Darshan. Bhadrayan is the last Acharya in the tradition of Vedanta Darshan. We cannot say that he is the developer of this tradition. Similarly, all these Vedangas, Indians had a tradition, and this knowledge was given in tradition in the beginning of the universe itself. That is why we call it as the divine knowledge, the revelation we call it. We do not, this knowledge was not collected by scholars in fragmentary forms, then it was collected and present to us. So this is not the case. The entire tradition will tell you like that. So this Vedic system or Vedic knowledge, it is the revealed knowledge, and the Rigved is going to define all these devas in its own way, or whether they are at physical level, astrophysical level, or spiritual level. And what is this? Rigveda. Now, the Rigveda pertains to the jnana of all this creation, and Yajurveda, that pertains to the karma, that karma kanda, or the yajna system. The process of the creation, it has been defined in the Yajurveda. And you will find that when we talk about karma, what is karma? There are many types of the karmas. It's not one type of karma. And when we call karma as a yajna, because this karma is the action of a Brahman, so that karma, that action of the Brahman, that is known as a Shauta karma, Shaut karma, Shauta. All these Shauta yagas, they define certain aspect or certain process of the creation of this universe at certain stage. These Shauta yagas, or we call them as Shauta karma. Then another karma is there that is known as Smartha karma. Smartha karma. All the karmas in Shauta sutras, they are called as Smartha karma. And what is those karmas in Shauta sutras? These sanskaras. There are sometimes some smart granthas, they define that there are 40 sanskaras, but main 16 sanskaras are there. All these sanskaras, they are called as Smartha karmas, or Griha yajnas we call them. Shauta yajnas, Griha yajnas, or the Smartha yajnas we call them. So these sanskaras, why these sanskaras were developed? And why the Shauta yajnas were developed? I told Shrotayajas, they were developed just to define, just to elaborate and explain this creation of the universe. The Somayag, how the rain formation takes place, that is defined by Somayag. Agnishomya Pashuyag is there. Agnishomya Pashuyag doesn't mean to kill animals, but because the whole universe, this creation is either Agneya or a Somya. Positive or negative charges are there. It is being made of Agni Somatmakam Idam Sarvam. So that defines this creation in that way. So the Shroti Yagas, they have the purpose to define or to explain the creation, the various aspects, various processes of this creation, or what is happening in astrophysical level. And Smarta Yajnas, they were meant just to transform the human being, transform the life of a human being. As we know, even if material thing, it cannot work until and unless it undergoes the process of refinement. For example, you take the crude oil. Crude oil, until and unless it is refined, it cannot be used to run motor cars, aeroplanes, and whatever machinery you are using it. And what the modern science is doing, the modern science is refining these material objects and to create comfort for the human beings. Because all these comforts, they will be created when these things, when these material things will be refined. But the modern science feels that the comfort for whom it is creating that comfort, it neglects that person, that individual being, that soul. All human beings, we are trying to give, the science is trying to give us the comfort, but the science forgets that this human being for whom this whole comfort is going to be given, he needs to be transformed into a good human being. If a human being is not transformed or not given the sanskaras, he will remain as better as an animal being. That is why the Smriti says, Janmana jayate shudraha, sanskarair dvijuchyate. Every human being, by birth, he is a Shudra. He is an illiterate animal being. And once he is giving the sanskaras of moral, ethical values, human values, vidya, knowledge, and all these things, he is called as a Dvija, twice born. The Shudra or animal being, human being as an animal being, takes birth from the womb of his mother. But as a Dvija, as a sanskar, as a transformed being, he takes birth from the womb of his Acharya. That is why he is known as Antevasi, Antevasi. He lives in the womb of his Acharya for years together, 12 years, 16 years, like that. And then he becomes a good human being, transformed human being. Shatpat Brahman says there are two types of prajas, two types of human beings. Dvividha va ima praja, daivi cha, manushi cha. There are two types of creation. One is daivi creation, another is manushi creation. He says, Manushi praja prajananat prajayate. This manushi creation, it takes birth from the sexual behavior of their parents. But daivi praja tani esha mukhato janayate. Chandansi vai daivi praja tani esha mukhato janayate. This daivi praja, this daivi creation, daivi creatures, they are created by Acharya from his mouth. Tani esha mukhato janayate. Chandansi vai daivi praja. When a human being becomes knowledgeable, when he acquires the moral, ethical values and vidya system, the knowledge system, then he becomes Deva. And that Daivi Praja is created by Acharya through his mouth. So this is the difference. The Shrota Yajjas, the Smarta Yajjas, they are the Sanskaras. They pertain to the Sanskaras of the human being, starting from when he was not born, even from the period when a human being is not born, starting from that period till his death, the Antyeshti Sanskar is done. Because just to create a human being or create a child, or that's not important. Even the animals, they are creating their progeny. But just to transform a human being into a good being, transform a person, an individual into a good human being, that is most difficult. That is the processing of human being. So these smart smritis or the smart karma, that is, that talks about, that gives you the processing or the method how to transform this person or individual person as a good human being. So that is the another karma that is dealt by the Veda, smart. And there are other karmas also. One of the karmas, they are known as a nitya karma, naimittik karma, or what are the nitya karmas? Panch Mahayajnas, they have been defined or called as a nitya karma. Brahma Yajna, daily you will have to do the study of Shastra, that is Brahma Yajna. Deva Yajna, you will have to do Agni Hotra, just to purify this environment, purify your house environment, your surroundings. Then Pitri Yajna you are supposed to do. Pitri Yajna means taking care of elderly persons in your house, in your family, in your society. That is also the nitya, means daily. These karmas are to be done by a human being daily. Then Atithi Yajna, when some scholar, some sannyasi, he comes to a village or to your vicinity, you just host him, give him food, entertain him. But now the conditions have changed. In ancient times, the sannyasis, they used to roam about to give knowledge and all these things. Today, we don't have that type of system though. So Atithi Yajna means a person who has no date of his coming. That is, but today we call Atithi as a guest, but the Vedic guest was a different type of guest. Still, this, if you are entertaining, hosting some guest, that's also a good duty. This is to be done daily. Then Bali Vaishva Devi Yajna. Every day you are to feed the creatures living in your vicinity. That is Bali Vaishva Devi Yajna. Bali means just to keep the share separate for those animals, or just like cow and whatever is living in your around you in your vicinity. That is why the Indians, they have the tradition of feeding even ants also, means taking care of other creatures which are living in your vicinity. These are the nitya karma. Then naimittik karmas are there. If you are doing some action just to some for just for some occasion, that is naimittik. Just like if you are doing a yajna on your birthday, that is naimittik karma. So this is how the karmas have been defined. And similarly, in Vedic tradition, there is one more karma that is known as a Shilpa karma, Shilpa Vidyas. Whatever technology you are making, that is also the Shilpa karma. So Yajurveda, it deals with the karma kanda. And this karma kanda, contains all these types of karmas, Shilpa karma, Nitya karmas, Naimittik karmas, or Shaut karmas, Smarta karmas. This is the whole Yajurveda system. And the Samaveda is there. Shamaganas are there. We know those mantras taken from Rig Veda itself, Samveda has mantras from Rig Veda itself, but they have been attuned to the tune of the cosmic vibrations, and those are known as Samaganas. And Samaganas or the Samaveda mostly deals with the Upasana Kanda, because there are three types, three Kandas are there in Indian tradition, Vedic tradition: Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. So Upasana is meditation, yoga, all these things, they are included into Upasana Kanda. And the Upanishads, they are the final literature or the last literature that deals with the Upasana Kanda, what is called as Vedanta. That is the last part of the Veda, Jnana, Karma, and Upasana. Finally, because first of all, in Brahmacharya ashram, will receive knowledge, attain knowledge, that is Dharma. Then in Grihastha ashram, will earn earth and will just try to fulfill our desires based upon Dharma, not unnecessary desires, legal desires. Will fulfill them in Grihastha ashram. Then Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, that is for Upasana. You are conducting, you are just withdrawing your mind from this mundane world, from your family attachments and all these things. So from one individual being, we are trying to universalize from, instead of associating in Vanaprastha ashram to the family system, a scholar, he tries to associate himself to the entire humanity. The universalization from one to many, it's a process from going to one to many. And in sannyasa, you will be totally, dissociating yourself from this mundane world, and you are trying to merge with the Brahman, which is the universal things. So everything is not existent. It is not going to exist in this universe. Everything is finally going to merge in the Brahman. And that is why Devata, so far as the question of Devata is concerned, Yaska says, Mahabhagyada Devataya Eka Atma Bahuda Shuyate. Bahuda Stuyate. Mahabhagyata. What is Mahabhagya? Mahabhagya means many characteristics, many types of qualities. Eka Eva Atma. There is only one Brahman who has, due to his many characteristics, is being praised or is being prayed in many ways by many names. Ekam sada vipra bahuda vadanti. So there is only one thing. Lastly, this whole Vedic system, at last, it collapses. This whole Vedic knowledge collapses with the Brahman itself. When a yogi is able to realize Brahman, then there is no need for attaining or acquiring this knowledge. This knowledge was required to reach to that final stage, or to attain that emancipation or the kaivalya or the moksha. So the purpose of this knowledge is finally to attain that. That is in Vaisheshika Darshan, Kanada says, Yato abhyudayaha nisreya siddhi. Because dharma, the knowledge of this whole universe, the knowledge of this existing universe, Brahman, Atma, Man, and all these things, whatever, the 9 things in Vaisheshik, they have been defined. Sadharmya, the Vaidharmyadava, because of their, the knowledge of the characteristics or the properties of all these things, that will give you the prosperity in this mundane world when you will develop technology or the Shilpa, and finally it will give you the final bliss, or it will lead you to the emancipation. So that is why the whole system has been made, has been created, has been originated for human beings to attain that final stage, and because that is the ultimate aim or the objective of the human life. So This Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and one more Veda is there, that is Atharva Veda. What is the Atharva Veda? Atharva Veda is meant to give you direction in the mundane world, how to live and all these things, how to maintain your body. So Ayurveda, it developed from Atharva Veda, because a soul, an individual soul, so long as it is there in the universe, it needs the knowledge for its survival. So Atharva Veda, that deals with all the system that is required to live in this universe. You know, if you are living in a country, if you are living in India, then what will happen? You are to follow the laws of the India. If you are living in Australia, you are bound to follow the laws of Australia. If you are going to break those laws, then you will be punished by the system over there. And if the same person, the person is the same, and if he moves to America or US, then he is bound to follow the rules. Those have been formulated or implemented in USA. In India, we are doing left-hand driving. Then in US, you can't do it. You will have to do that right-hand driving, or you will be punished. So a human being is living in this universe, and this universe is made of Brahman. So you are required to follow the laws of Brahman while living in this universe, nor you will be punished by the Brahman. So the biggest thing, you may avoid following the laws of certain nations, but you must follow the law of Brahman. You cannot avoid it, because we are living in this creation, and that is why all our dharma shastras, all our smritis, they have formed laws as per the natural laws. You cannot make a law which is unnatural. All this law system, all these rules and laws, they have come down to the Vedic seers through the act of the Brahman, through his creation itself. Whatever you see in the creation, the same law you will have to formulate. A king is required, a ruler is required to formulate all the laws based upon natural justice. And if the states are not following it, then those states, they are not going to survive for a longer period. The subjects of those states, they are not going to receive the justice. They will be denied of the justice, because this is the natural law that is most important, and it has not been created by human beings. It came from the Brahman itself. It exists in this universe. Just like, you know, what is happening? All trees, the trees and everything, they are giving you. They are not receiving anything from you. So in Vedic system, there is no concept of right. There is a concept of duty. Your duty, what is dharma? One meaning of dharma is also a duty. Duty of a human being towards his family, duty of a human being towards his society, duty of a human being towards his nation, duty of a human being towards the whole humanity at large, duty of a human being towards the nature, towards environment. So you are bound to do duties. You have no right. But that is why the Vedic philosophy is a different philosophy. Modern scientific philosophy is survival of the fittest. It says the struggle is there and the powerful is going to survive. Just like the wild law, the law of jungle is there. In law of jungle, the powerful is going to survive. There is no rule and regulations, because the rules and regulations will come from the civilized society. The modern system, it talks about the uncivilized nations, uncivilized societies. And that is why the Vedic seer says, Kranavanto Vishwamaryam. It was the burden of the Vedic seers, just like the Britishers, they used to say, white man's burden to rule and to teach laws. It was the burden of the Vedic seers to civilize the whole world. And Manu also points out to this. Manu says, Etad desha prasutasya sakashad agrajanmanaha swam swam saritram shiksheran prithivyam sarva manavaha. All persons, all human beings on the globe, they came, they learned the education, they acquired vidya, education of character, good human beings, moral values from the firstborn human beings of this country. The firstborn human beings, etad desha prasutasya sakashad agrajanmanaha. The human beings on this Indian land, they were agrajanmaha, they were the firstborn persons on the earth, and the other human beings, they got the education of morality, of ethics, character, the spirituality, and this mundane world from these human beings. So it was the burden of the Vedic seers to civilize the whole nation. So, as per modern science, you are living, you are being governed by the laws of jungle, where there is no civilized rule and regulation. And there is another philosophy. That philosophy comes from Buddhism. It says, live and let live. You also live and let others also live. You don't try to interfere with the activities of other beings. But the Vedic philosophy, it's a very different philosophy. And this philosophy says, live and help others to live. You live yourself and also help those who are not able to survive in this universe. You help them. You are supposed to help them. So that is why it has been said, paropakara, the concept of paropakara has been inducted into the Vedic philosophy. And one more concept is there, aparigraha. You are not supposed to acquire the natural resources or any type of earth which is not required by you, or which is not immediately required by you, because you can't do hoarding. You cannot deprive other human beings from their survival by hoarding everything. And today we see 10% people in the world, they have control over 90% resources on this planet. And 90% people, they have access only to 10% resources of this globe. So this disparity has to be removed, and it cannot be removed until and unless we are going to follow the natural laws. We are going to follow the Vedic rules. We are going to follow the rules ordained in Smritis, Dharma Shastras. Those rules in Dharma Shastras, they have been imbibed by seers, visualized by seers from this Prakriti itself, from this nature itself. And that is why everything is going to merge lastly in the Prakriti, as so far as this material world is created. And in modern science also, everything in material world, it is made up of energy. And at last, this matter will transform into energy. And Vedic seer also says that everything is the creation of Prakriti, and this Vikriti, this evolution is, we call it as a Vikriti, not evolution, different. We are giving different names, quite opposite to that modern system. And this Prakriti, everything has to, during dissolution, everything merge into the Prakriti. And this Prakriti will finally merge into Brahman. So Mahabhagyat Devataya Ek Atma Bahuda Stuyate. So this is the whole Deva system, Deva Eva Devata, and this is the meaning of the Vedas, or definition of the Veda. Now the most important thing that remains to be defined, that is Chanda. There are many components of the Devatas. Now, Vedas, one is the Devata, another is a Rishi, and third one is the Chanda. I have defined Devata. And seers, seers were those who were able to visualize those laws of nature, laws of creation in the form of Veda, in the beginning of universe. And you know why Veda is the unique text. You know, in Vedas we find swara system, Anudatta, Udatta, and Swarita. And accordingly, the Saswara chanting is done. Saswara chanting. While doing the Saswara chanting of this Gayatri mantra, simply you will say Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai, like that. But while doing Saswara, they will raise hands and they will say Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya, like that. So the Saswara chanting is done. There is no scholar has born so far in this world or in India itself who can form a mantra, who can make a mantra. There are many scholars who can construct slokas, Sanskrit slokas, but nobody has born as yet who can construct a mantra, Vedic mantra, because it is so difficult. You cannot apply that swara system. And while applying all these swara, Anudatta, Udatta, and Swarit, and revealing a mantra or chanting or constructing a mantra, it is very, very difficult. It is very, very difficult. So that is why the Indian tradition says no such construction of a mantra can be done by a human being. It was a revelation in Samadhi that this whole thing was revealed by the seers. And the Western scholar says that this is the song of shepherds or cowherds, because their philosophy is different. They want to tell that in the beginning, a primitive man was there who had no knowledge, and through his trial and efforts, he tried to gain knowledge. And in the beginning, it was quite empty. Now we are full of knowledge. But Vedic system says that in the beginning of the universe itself, those seers, they took birth who were in moksha in the previous cycle of creation. And they revealed this whole knowledge and passed on further. So in the beginning, the maximum knowledge was there. Samudravata Vyakaranam Maheshwari. The oceanic knowledge of Maheshwara was there, grammar, knowledge of grammar, oceanic knowledge. But now it has reduced to a drop of water. So there is a difference. There is a difference of thinking. There is a difference of philosophical vision in modern system and the Vedic system. So this Vedic system, it talks about the chanda. There are 7 chandas. Seers, I told, who imbibed this knowledge, and there are around in Vedas, all the 4 Vedas, we find 900 seers, name of the 900 seers, because I have developed certain concordances. One concordance I made, concordance of Vedic mantras as per Devata and Rishi. In those concordances, I have collected mantras from all the 4 Vedas, Devata-wise, just like Agni Devata is there. So Agni Devata's mantras are there in 4 Vedas. I have collected all those mantras at one place. So I have found some 815 devatas in all the 4 Vedas, means subject matters. Then I made a concordance of Vedic mantras as per seer and devata. Means suppose Vishwamitra is the seer, and the mantras assigned to Vishwamitra in all the 4 Vedas, they have been put together at one place for the research purposes. So that way I found that some 900, more than 900 seers, they are assigned to the various mantras of the Vedas. So 900 seers. Similarly, this Vedic composition is made up of chandas, and there are 7 chandas starting from Gayatri, then Ushanika, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankati, Jagati. Like that, there are 7 chandas and there are 7 swaras. Those were the grammatical swaras, but other swaras are also there. Sare, Gama, Padhani. These musical swaras, what we today use, they came from the Vedas themselves. Sa means Shadaj swara. Re means Revat swara. Ga means Gandhara swara. Ma means this Pancham, Dhaivat, like that. These are 7 swaras. These swaras, they also exist in the Vedas. So today's music, they doesn't have anything new. It came down from the Veda itself. And similarly, the 7 chandas are there. And you will be surprised to know that 7 chandas, Gayatri Chand has 24 words. And Jagati Chand has 48 words. Ushnik has 28. Brihati has 32 words. Why all these chandas? They have words from 24 to 48. That is also the astronomical thing. That is also the astronomical calculation based upon the astronomy. These chanda system, these chandas were assigned these 24, 28, 30, 32, 36, 40, 44 and 48 words. So I just want to show here, I have made some slides. I just want to show you those slides for the chandas to have the right, proper understanding of the chandas. I want to share it if it is possible.
Sir, how long it may take more?
I will finish it within 15 minutes, or I can say it like that also. But I think if I'll show it.
Please show. Actually, we are up to 8 o'clock, but please do. Today,
but we started late now.
Yes, yes.
Some 15 minutes late.
Yeah, please,
No, if you want, I can
no.
show it.
Please
No,
go ahead.
that's
Please
not
go
a
ahead.
problem.
Yeah.
Because I think it will be easy to understand it like that.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. PowerPoint show is there. You just see. This is the how the chandas were given the names. The earth is inclined on its axis by 23.5 degree. So this inclination of earth around its axis, it is the cause of the origin of the chandas. How the chandas were created. Now we just see Gayatri Chanda. When sun is perpendicular at the line of Capricorn, that is known as Makara Rekha, and that is also known as Makara Sankranti. And today that period is 22nd December. That line of Capricorn is known as Makara Rekha, and in the language of Veda, that is known as Gayatri Chanda. So that line of Capricorn, it is Gayatri Chanda. And because that line of Capricorn is 24 degrees south of the equator, or you can say 23.5 degrees south of equator, but you can't say it. If you will calculate into syllables or words, syllables, you can't have 23.5 syllables. So it will be only 24 syllables. And what happens in Surya Siddhant, we say 23.5 degree. Surya Siddhant says it 24 degree itself. So the Gayatri Chanda is the line of Capricorn, where the sun is there. And when the sun is there at this line, then the Uttarayana starts. So that is why, because sun is 24 degrees south of equator, so Gayatri Chanda has 24 words. Now, syllables in it. Now, coming forward, sorry. We have on Heb, it was December 21, and now on 21st January, the sun comes to 20 degrees south of equator, and that is known as Ushnik Chanda. And similarly, in Feb 18, the sun comes at 12 degrees south of equator. That is known as Anushtup Chanda. In March 21, sun is perpendicular on equator. That is known as 0 degree, and that is known as Brihati Chanda. After that, in April, some problem is there. In April, sun is there at 12 degree north of equator. That is known as Pankti Chanda. And in May, sun is there at 20 degree north of equator. That is known as Trishtup Chanda. And in June, that is known as a Karka, line of Cancer. Sun is 24 degrees south of equator. No, north of equator. That is known as Jagati Chanda. Now you just see, Gayatri Chanda has 24 syllables. And from Gayatri to Jagati, 24 below, down the equator, and 24 above the equator. Total becomes 48. So Jagati Chanda has 48 syllables. And in between, there is increase of 4 syllables in each chanda. So if it is Ushanik chanda, if it is Ushanik chanda, then it will have 28 syllables. If it is Anushtup chanda, it will have 32 chanda syllables. If it is Brihati, means 0 degree equator, it will have 36 syllables. And if it is Pankti, it will have 40 syllables. If it is Trishtup Chanda, it will have 44. And if it is Jagati Chanda, it will have 48 syllables. So the whole syllable count of the chandas, it is according to the earth's tilt on its axis. And that is why a mantra is there in the Veda. Suryo Brihatim Adyudhastapati. No scholar is able to translate it properly. And the mantra says, when the sun is at the Brihati Chanda, it emits scorching heat. Why? Brihati Chanda is 0 degree equator, is 0 degree. And that when the sun is on equator, the maximum heat is going to be emitted by sun. So this is how the whole Vedic system, as I told, it is quite scientific. Its construction of chanda is also based upon this astronomical system. And then according to this, we can say the Vedas were revealed to the scholars in this universe, on this earth itself, not at any other planet or outside the earth, because the whole system is go in consonance with this our solar system. So thank you. I have taken a lot of time. Hope all participants might have been able to understand.
Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya, I am Ravi Prakash Arya ji. Namaskar.
Namaste.
So I am very thrilled to see you once again.
Yeah.
So we have no words. We have no words to express our appreciation, admiration, and wonder which you provided to us. It's a wonderful original. Friends, Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya is doing original research in presenting some unknown, previously unthought of insights into the Vedic science. So the spirit of this course of 3 months course Sanatana Dharma is the scientific interpretation of Sanatana Dharma. So Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya is the right person to give the very first lecture, and we thank him profusely. Let us all give him a big hand, and we look forward to have more interactions with him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi Prakash Garu. And it's very, very motivating and informative. And also, in fact, it is a very good start, as CSR Prabhu Garu has said it. We are very thankful to you for sparing your time and taking the classes. There are some people who would like to interact with you. Can we have some interaction? Yeah.
Yeah.
Saugandhi, 502, please unmute yourself.
Namaste. I just have one question. Do you have any book suggestions of yours for beginners?
Yes,
Because
yes.
this is very interesting, especially
I have written a book, Introduction to the Vedas, and that is available on Amazon. On all platforms of Amazon, that is available. Introduction to the Vedas. And if you will just type my name, Ravi Prakash Arya, in Amazon or Google, you will find the entire literature written by me on Vedas and other scientific aspects.
Okay. So, and one more thing, would you be able to share today's slides or handout or something for us? Because going through your lectures, I would like to again go through the whole thing. So would you be able to provide it?
Yeah.
Dhanyavad, sir. Excellent and very, very beautiful. One thing really struck, you said everybody is born a Shudra.
Yeah.
From the mother's womb. That is a very, very profound statement. Dhanyavad, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Saugandhi ji. I hope all the students are making their notes. Are you also making, Saugandhi ji? Please do that. If you are not doing it, please do make the notes. Result to be submitted. Okay, and people are asking for the PPT, sir. Can you share it?
Yeah, I'll try.
Because that is very informative, and in fact, I was feeling a little guilty to disturb you because the one you
No. It's Prabhuji, my friend, so I never feel disturbed in his company, and he also gives me all his help and everything. So it's all mutual, and you are doing a very good job. So I never feel to disturbed. Whatever this type of knowledge dissemination, that's a wonderful thing, and I am also putting my ahuti in this yajna. Small ahuti I'm just giving.
Yeah. So we will have a few more people are very enthusiastic. Like
Yes, just 2 minutes, just a minute. Just a minute.
Hello, namaste.
1 minute. I think he has just come
Can
to
you
us.
hear me? Namaste.
So meanwhile, while he comes back, request everybody, please do make notes. Otherwise, you will not register anything in your brain.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Swaraj Molaji. Please open your video and okay.
Okay, namaste. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is the theory of symmetrism is not possible in Sanat? I mean, this is with respect to your globe example of the latitudes, okay? Tropic of Capricorn as well as the Tropic of Cancer and all. Tropic of Capricorn on December 22nd, you don't find at 12 o'clock, you don't find a shadow of a person literally on that, especially on that particular line. At the same thing, you find even in Tropic of Cancer, also in a different time of the solstice. Now, this is this is something related to the symmetrism of the way the globe is designed, or planet Earth is designed into form of symmetrical. When you say the equatorial Earth, the 0-degree latitude and all. So why you only focused only on Tropic of Capricorn, not on Tropic of Cancer in the similar fashion, like in the similar theme, like?
No, I'm just talking about the Tropic of Cancer also, because Jagati Chand is Tropic of Cancer. In fact, it's it's a subject of one more lecture. I just summarized it. I'm not saying only, I'm not talking about only Tropic of Cancer, because Tropic of Cancer is known as Uttarayana. It has already been defined in Vedas. There are 4 cardinal points. This Uttarayana, Dakshinayana, then Devayana and Pitriyana. So what you call as summer solstice, winter solstice, and we call them as or equatorial, the equinoxes. So all these 4 have been defined by Vedic seers, and it's their first invention, I think. And based upon this system also, the entire, this knowledge system has been developed. That is why Jagati is 24 degree above the equator. So 24 degree below and above, total 48 syllables. Jagati has been assigned 48 syllables.
Okay. Rajalakshmi ji. Unmute yourself and open your video and then talk. Quickly. Yeah.
Namaste. Arya ji was saying only Dvija are born, otherwise all are animals. So how to become to that state? I mean, women, other caste, they are not given the opportunity to do the
No,
female function.
yes, yeah, I was saying, when a human being is born from mother's womb, he's just a Shudra, just animal type, because he has no education, he has no moral and ethical values. And when he goes to the Acharya's place, then he receives knowledge, education, moral, ethical values. You just see Shiksha just to attain, just to earn money and fill up your belly. It's nothing. Only all animals also do the same thing. But what is important, that is Vidya. Means how to transform yourself as a good human being. So I was saying, initially everybody is a Shudra, just like animal. But when he gets the good sanskaras, moral, ethical values, knowledge system and all these things, he becomes a Dvija, means twice born. He gets the second life. Twice born means second life of knowledge. And if you are not gaining any knowledge, that is your only first life. Only one life, and that life only also animal have the first life, because they also have the first life. Animals, they don't get any education, so they are not fortunate to become Dvija. Dvija means who gains knowledge, who has had his second life by gaining knowledge. So that's that way.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then Ashok.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. And
Sir, my question is, let me have a little bit elaboration about geothermal energy. You said there were a little bit. I want to have a.
No, actually, the earth has its own energy that is known as geothermal energy. The solar energy is also there. The energy that comes from the sun. And Veda says that due to the permutation and combination of both the energies, solar and geothermal energy, life springs on the earth. Life comes on the earth. If the earth becomes a desert planet, then there will be no life on it. So earth is also a live planet, living planet, because in its womb, in the core of earth, there is a natural nuclear reactor that emits the thermal energy everywhere, and due to that energy itself, all these hot water springs, volcanoes, they are there on the earth. So that is the geothermal energy.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yes.
okay, Srinivas. Srinivas, you.
Hello, Namaskar Mahodaya.
Namaskar.
Acha. Your speech is very, very excellent. While we are listening your speech, it is valuable. We are unable to write simultaneously because writing is another task. We are unable to record at the same time. So I request you to put whatever speech you are giving in the form of a video or in the form of some PDF.
Yeah. Srinivas.
That will be easier for us.
Srinivas Garu.
Sir.
We have already told you that this is being recorded and will be on the group. And yesterday's also it is put in the group.
Right, sir.
On 23rd also put in the group. So what I'm saying is, while listening also, you need to concentrate little more so that you don't miss points.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir. Nothing, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent speech.
Nishkant Pandey. Unmute yourself and then also start your video, Nishkant. He's a research
नमो महोदय
Yeah.
नमो नमः महोदय अहं किञ्चित् पूर्वे एव श्रुतवान् यथा महोदय उक्तवान्
Nishkant, speak in English. Speak in English.
सर हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ थोड़ा?
हाँ बोलिए
सर कुछ देर पहले ही सर हम लोगों को बहुत अच्छा व्याख्यान दिया तो उसके लिए नमन करता हूँ और उन्होंने कहा कि सहस्र शीर्षा पुरुषः जो है सहस्रापात तो सहस्र शीर्षा पुरुषः इसके आधार से हम लोग किसको स्वीकार करते हैं? सहस्र शीर्षा पुरुष है इसके आधार के वेद में तो ये है पुरुष सूक्तों में ये दिया गया है लेकिन इसको किसके आधार में स्वीकार करेंगे? सहस्र शीर्षा पुरुष देवी या ब्रह्मादेव वही?
Yeah, actually the Brahman, when he manifests the all human beings, there are innumerable heads, innumerable eyes, but it represents the Brahman manifesting into many human beings. Okay, so it's not some particular person or a Purush. Purush is a Purush of the Purush Sukta of Rigveda or Yajurveda. It comes in the Yajurveda also. That is Brahman also, and that also denotes to the mass energy, entire mass energy of the universe. Okay, it has many meanings. So here the Purush applies to the Brahman itself, who is manifesting in the forms of so many heads of these created beings and all these things. So that is the meaning over there. Sahasra means unlimited, no end, unending. Unlimited human beings, unlimited creatures and all things, that addresses that one.
ओके सर और सर और एक प्रश्न है वेद तो हम लोग सुबह 5 बजे के बाद ही पाठ किया जाते हैं सूर्य उदय के बाद तो वेद शूद्र नारी भी पढ़ सकते हैं क्या? ये एक प्रश्न है।
कोई भी पढ़ सकता। जब शूद्र है तो उसको नॉलेज वो कैसे पढ़ेगा? पहले तो उसको नॉलेज गेन करना पड़ेगा ना। इफ यू आर ए शूद्र, हाउ कैन यू स्टडी इट? Because you have not gone to the Gurukul, you have not gone to the school. And if somebody says you live with, somebody says read this Bhagavad Gita or read some particular text. If you are illiterate, how can you study it? First of all, that knowledge, you becoming Dvij means gaining knowledge is, at least literacy is essential. So for that, for everything, training is required. If you are not having a training, you can't even drive the car, and you will say, if a non-trainee, I would say these are non-training, and will make a rule, no non-training will drive the car. How can you say that? How is it possible? If you are having that particular training, then only you can use it, na? So you go get the training of reciting, chanting Veda. If you are not able to pronounce the words or syllables properly, then how can you study it? So becoming Dvija is essential, and that Dvij means who has gone to the Acharya, who has taken proper knowledge of those things. ना जो आचार्य के पास जाएगा, पढ़ेगा, proper ज्ञान लेगा, वही तो पढ़ेगा.
हाँ सर।
है। एक अब अप्रशिक्षित व्यक्ति है, वो कार को कैसे चलाएगा? और मैं रूल बना दूं सरकार में, जो अप्रशिक्षित है वो कार नहीं चलाएंगे। आप उसका विरोध कैसे कर सकते हैं? पहले आपको प्रशिक्षण लेना होगा, तभी तो आप चलाएंगे ना। तो वही है, द्विज द्विज ही पढ़ सकता है, मतलब जिसने प्रशिक्षण ले लिया है, ज्ञान प्राप्त कर लिया है, वही तो वेद को पढ़ेगा। नहीं तो वेद का तो ट्रांसलेशन गलत कर देगा आदमी। एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल दूं, एक महात्मा थे, उसने अपने शिष्य को एक ज्ञान दिया ना, मंत्र दिया, क्योंकि महात्मा लोग मंत्र देते हैं, और मंत्र दिया सीता रामाभ्याम नमः। तो उसके शिष्य पूछने लगे कि ये सीता भी समझ में आया, राम भी समझ में आया, ये भ्याम समझ में नहीं आया। तो वो गुरु भी अनपढ़ था, उसने कहा भ्याम का अर्थ है भैरव। तो जब आप अनपढ़ हैं, आपने पढ़ाई नहीं, तो आप सबका उल्टा उल्टा ट्रांसलेशन कर देंगे। इसलिए द्विज का होना, गुरु के पास जाकर के ज्ञान प्राप्त करना आवश्यक है। योग में भी आपको ज्ञान प्राप्त करना पड़ेगा। आप कुश्ती करते हैं तो भी गुरु के पास जाएंगे ना, दाव सीखने और ये सब, तो गुरु के पास जाके शिक्षा प्राप्त करना अनिवार्य है, उसी को द्विज कहा है जी। नेक्स्ट।
Okay, Nishikant is the research scholar from district Malda, and there is a Sanskrit university in the border of Bangladesh and West Bengal.
Oh.
And he has some, 13, 14 students along with him. Ask them also to log in. Okay, Nishikant. It is important. Now you have gone through the lecture, so they will be missing it. I don't see any of them.
You will have to unmute yourself also. Unmute.
Okay. And then next, okay, Suresh Kumarji. Unmute yourself and talk. I think I will ask you to unmute. Suresh Kumar. Where is
Suresh ji.
I'll have to ask him to unmute. Okay.
Yeah, you will have to unmute.
Namaskar ji, thank you very much for the lecture. I have actually a question on the term that we are using called dharma. Dharma seems to be a very loaded word. I mean, a lot of people use it in different contexts and different interpretations of dharma. So one of the things that you have mentioned towards the end of the session is that dharma is also called as duty of what we all supposed to be doing. So if that is the case, then when we say Hindu dharma, if I don't know whether it is correct to say that, but Hindu dharma or Sanatana dharma that we are calling is basically, from what we have learned about Vedas, it is all how we are supposed to live, or what is it supposed to happen. So how do we actually correlate? I mean, if we have to give a one-line definition of dharma, is it possible to give, and what is it? And what is the equivalence of dharma with religion? You said religion is not exactly the same as dharma.
You know, when we call as Hindu dharma, so that's wrong term we are using. Hindu pantha, Hindu mata, like that we can say. Isai mata, Isai pantha, these are the matas, panthas, or some sects we can say. But Sanatan dharma is the eternal rule regulations, the duties told to the human being. Because when you study, you will study Dharma Shastra, all these subjects have been given there. The duties of Varnas, the duty of human beings in the society, moral, ethical values, all these things have been defined. In fact, Dham has two aspects. One is individual aspect, and Patanjali call that niyama. And another is social aspect, because a human being is a social being also. When you are living in the society, interacting with the people in the society, then you will have to abide by dharma that is known as a yama, niyama. So yama is the social discipline, and niyama is the individual discipline. So dharma in that sense, and it has also been defined as dharanat dharma prahu, the rules or regulations that are helpful in the sustenance of a human being or this world. You can say in one line that rules, those or regulations which are helpful in the sustenance of humanity Those are dharma, that is dharma.
Okay.
So dharma is a set of duty. If you want to do your proper duty, then also the sustenance is impossible. And if you won't have all those good values, then also the sustainable existence is not possible.
Mhm.
So dharma is a different, but now having different connotation, but now the scholars, they have started using it in a different forms now. So it's going to be misused.
Correct, correct. Sir, in which case, if we were to say, again, this is my interpretation, if Sanatana Dharma is actually defining everything about our existence,
Yes.
then would it be correct to say that all other religions or all religions will actually be a subset of Sanatana Dharma? Because if we say that our Vedas actually define everything that is possible, it's a superset of all the knowledge, then any other definition of a dharma or a way of living would also become a subset of Veda in some way or the other.
No, subset so far as they follow. So far as they follow those natural laws. Veda is the set of natural laws or natural system. So they may be called as subset. And if they have own man-made things, restrictions and so many things, so they cannot be called as the subset of Veda. Na? Because everything, if you want to be a Vedic one, if you want to be Vedic person, then you will have to follow that natural way of life. Whatever nature, the natural system, you just see the nature and you follow it. Everything you will receive from the nature. There's no need to go elsewhere. So if other religions, they are following this set of system, to some extent or to a little bit extent, so they may be said as the subset to that extent only, but they cannot be said as subset because they have some different ways. According to the religions, a person should have particular things. And if you will follow them, then you will go to the moksha. And those religions, they are going to have some welfare program only for their folks, not others. But here we say, Sarve bhavantu sikhina, sarve santu, means shared prosperity. We are talking about the shared prosperity, prosperity for all. But they are not talking about. Then how can they be the subset of the Vedic Dharma? They cannot. Because their ideology and their system, it is not according to the Veda. The governments, they are not following it. The subset, they will become subset if they will follow the same rules and regulations, but their rules are different. Their theory is different. Survival of the fittest. They say only the peace will prevail on the earth if everybody will become Christian, if everybody will become Islamic. So then the peace will prevail. But here we say the peace will prevail on the earth if you will follow the dharma, yam and niyam, social discipline and individual discipline. Whatsoever, differences are there, differences of language, region, race, religion, whatever it is, but still you can coexist. What is yama? Ahimsa, brahmacharya, aparigraha, asteya, all these are the yama, social discipline. You will have to be non-violent. Non-violent from mana, vachana, karma, from your thought, your speech and action also. You cannot do violence. Then aparigraha, you cannot hold money or hold resources, whatever not required by you. So asteya, you cannot steal anybody else's property. You cannot try to grab it. So that is social discipline. You will have to follow it. And if you are not following, if you don't have that type of system, and if you want to convert everybody in your system, so you cannot be the subset. Subset, live and help others to live. That is, if you are following this thing, then you can be the subset. No, neither you can't be. This is one single line philosophy is there. No?
understand, sir.
You are not allowing others to live. How can you be the subset?
Correct, sir. But
So-
unfortunately, even all of us, or I should not generalize it, but let's say even we are not following to an extent, because we are also following some violence when it is not
Right.
required.
Why?
We are also
Why?
not
Yes.
letting others live when we can actually let them live happily. We are
Yeah.
trying to create situations in our society which is not required. Unnecessarily, we are doing some of the things. So we are also probably violating some of those principles then.
Yeah, no, why we are avoiding?
No,
Because
no,
we are
that-
living in a system. Now we are living in an environment where you can't survive with your principles. So you will have to do struggle. You will have to be, you are in clash with others. They are not going to let you survive. So your system, you have to change your system. Na?
Yes, sir.
Just like Buddhism was there, the Chinese captured Tibet. So with your principles, you are not able to survive now.
Yeah.
So then Kshatra Tej, Brahma Tej was there. Now you will have to take weapons also in hand just to
That's
fight
right.
those wars.
Sure.
That's why in Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you fight out the war. Because if the rogues are there in the society, if the terrorists are there in the society, if they are spreading terrorism, you can't sit still. Because for all these things, a conducive atmosphere has to be there. A conducive atmosphere has to be provided by the state where you can redeem the objectives of your life, dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. If such a conducive atmosphere is not there, then you will have to fight out the
Fight
things,
for it, yeah.
bad elements, to make that conducive atmosphere prevail. So that is why the problem is there.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar.
Okay, Suresh Kumar
Sir,
garu.
one submission, sir. The subset cannot go against the main set rules.
Yeah,
That is the basic principle.
right.
A subset cannot go against the rules of main set rules.
Main
The
set.
main
Yeah,
set
sir.
rules of Veda cannot be taken when they are getting questioned, then Veda main set rules prevail.
Yeah,
So that's how you have to take it. Veda's rules will prevail whenever there is a difference in thinking
Yeah.
of a subset.
right.
And second question is, when you are asking that when we are doing, what means by we? That we is a subjective statement. It's not a universal law. We is not a universal law.
Yeah,
The universal law of Sanatana Dharma doesn't talk about the atrocities are being made or being preached by the other religions, so-called religions. That is the point we should understand. Our religion doesn't talk about the thing like that. What Arya is now just submitting, informing to you, that we should fight for that. Yes, we should fight for that to the extent that where there is a limited question of disturbance is there in the society by limited people. But the basic principle of Sanatana Dharma or Vedas doesn't preach about that we should do this type of wrong statements of killing all people who are not believing. These things they don't say. That's not basic set. That is the thing.
Okay,
So we are doing that. Don't have that. We are doing, not we. We are not doing anything. Yes, some of one or two elements are doing like that in the society, in our society also.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's a out of reaction now. It's a reaction type of thing. The people, the crowd is doing like that.
Yes.
okay, last question, and I think she wants to again come and repeat. Saugandhiji, you ask very quickly because we are running out of time.
Mahodaya, I have one question. Anywhere in the Vedas or anywhere in our scriptures, is it specifically told that women are not allowed to access Vedic knowledge? Because we have rishis like Gargi. So is it anywhere?
No. It is nowhere mentioned. No, there is no such rule. There is no
And
such rule.
there is no rule that Shudras cannot learn also. Is there? Because everybody is a
If you are a Shudra,
everybody-
if you are a Shudra, automatically you can't learn. I just explained it.
No,
You have to
if
become
I'm a
Grishma, you will
Shudra,
have
can
to
I
get
have
learning.
access to learning? Meaning, Can I
Yeah.
go to an
No,
acharya?
no,
and-
everybody has access to learning.
Yeah.
Let me also clarify. In 1835, when Macaulay he was trying to change the Indian education system, the surveys were made in this country because Britishers, when they used to do something, they used to do surveys, and the surveys were done by two persons, William Adams and Ludlow Castle. And what was found that in this country, in during the time of Macaulay, in around 1835, some 6 to 7 lakh villages were there. And they mentions, the Ludlow Castle mentions that in every village there was a school or two schools. And there also in surveys they say that in those schools they were known as Gurukulas, and they call them the schools. But and they also say but that by that time some 15,000 institutions of higher learning were also there. So, and he also says that in those Gurukulas some 50 subjects are going to be taught. And he also says that during that period 95% people were literate, and even there were the Gurukulas for the women, he says there. So that way you can say, you can think these all things that Sudras or women's are not allowed. This was the propaganda by Britishers to divide this country, and their own surveys tell us that by that time 95% people were literate, and during that period in England only 3 subjects used to be taught. One, theology, means Bible, another logic, and third one grammar, just to study biology, that Bible. But yeah, 50 subjects used to be taught by that time. So there was never a period in this country that Shudras or the women were not allowed. The women participated equally. In fact, this discrimination was there in the West. Starting from Plato till 1950s, the women were considered as not having the soul. They were considered as an object. And that is why in European, in America, the women, they were not able to open the bank accounts. And the laborers, when they used to do work, they were paid half of the man's salary. And you know, in India, there are as many as Devis, as many as Devatas. So everywhere you go, the family deity, Devis, Devi are there, Devatas are there. So there is equal number of Devis and equal number of Devatas. And Manu says, Naryastu yatra pujyante ramante tatra devata. So is a country which is having so much of respect for the women, you cannot suppose or you cannot think that there must have been such rules which are derogatory to the glory and respect for the women. So it never happened. It was a propaganda.
Dhanyavad, sir. Then when did
Not only
Upanayana, why did
one submission,
Upanayana
sir.
stop?
One submission. Not only Devatas.
Yeah.
If you take the history of our India, right from the Medha Tithi of Vedakala,
right,
till Rani Jhansi Lakshmi Bai,
yeah,
there are so many heroines.
Yeah, heroines, yeah.
And Mahalya Bai Holkar recently.
Yeah.
There's so many heroines who are established their credit when they have got worth, they have done it.
Yes.
But in between, some because of invaders and the colonialisms,
right,
the ladies were under attack for spoiling them. So some section of people must have not allowed the ladies to go out and read to the schools.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they are not allowed to read Vedas.
Yeah.
They are being taught in the houses itself.
Yes.
So Upanayana as a kriya was there.
Please, I think I'll have to come in between. Sorry, we are running totally out of time. We are 44 minutes beyond the schedule. So
Okay,
no
now,
more questions, no more discussions. Let us go.
Okay, Babu Garu. Actually, Saugandhi, your questions will be answered in further lectures. Okay.
Dhanyavad, sir.
Yeah.
You can put the questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let us all thank Ravi Prakash Arya Garu to spare his time and gave us a beautiful, wonderful, and very informative Vedantic lecture to all of us. It is eye-opening for all of us. And on behalf of all the students, sir, I give pranams to you and then thank you. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now let us have Pradhana and Janaganamana. Satyaji, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Maheshaha Go Brahmanebhyah Subhamastu Nityam Loka Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Pajanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Desho Yam Kshobarahito Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Aputraha Putranas Santu Putrinas Santu Pautrinaha Adhana Sadhana Santu Jivantu Sharadam Shatam Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara Swadhyayanma Pramadaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Paschyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Swasti.
Dhanyavadamalandi, Satya garu. Now let us have recite Janaganamana. Let's all stand up and I request all to sing.
Janagana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchchal Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha Janagana Mangaladayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He Jaya Jaya Kalan Garu, you are on mute if you are talking. You have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Dhanyavadamalandi, Rachit Babu garu. Let us stop recording now.